Welcome to Backseat Confessions Podcast. Slide into the backseat as we listen to mostly anonymous strangers tell us stories from their lives. I'm a rideshare driver in Atlanta, and the people getting in my car have absolutely no idea I'm going to ask them to share. My commitment to you is to tell at least a snippet of virtually every story recorded in my car in the order they were told to me. My hope is that you laugh, cringe, cry, but mostly connect to these amazing people. You may find a piece of your own story or just feel more connected to the rest of us. Join us, won't you? So, hey, my new friend. This is an adult podcast. Themes and languages are definitely not suitable for everyone. Listener discretion is advised. Hello, friend. What is shaking in your world right now? Well, I can tell you that after this ride, you'll either feel right at home and realize you're not the only one who has some wild and crazy things happen to them, or you'll feel better because your life is just so normal and unremarkable. Either way, we at BCP and the riders today are here for you. So, hop aboard our cruise ship as we get comfortable, sip our beverage of choice, and listen in on what's going on in some of our brothers and sisters' lives. We are off to the races today with a story from a young lady that starts off making you think it's just gonna be a hot sex story. And it is for a minute. But then it takes a turn you just might not see coming.
Story number 140. Monday, February 8, 2021, 10:59 p.m.
So it was one time I was having sex with this guy, and now let me remind you, can I cuss?
You can cuss, you can talk about any subject you want. There's no rule. It's an adult podcast.
This man had the best dick ever. When I tell you, like, the best dick ever, like...
So, like...
I mean, like, the best. Like, he fucked me like a slut. I don't know, like, I'm not a slut, so it's like, okay, I really don't even like him like that.
Yeah.
But
he just knew what he was doing.
And it made me feel like, you know what you're doing with everybody then, because I don't even like you like that. So
how did you end up in bed with him if you didn't like him?
I was really more so just convinced because I let him give me some head when I was, the first couple nights I spent the night at his house, I wouldn't let him touch me. He's like, you're being childish. You being lame. I'm like, well, I can leave.
Yeah.
And he didn't want me to leave, so it was like, okay.
He slow rolled you.
Yeah, he tried to play.
Yep.
And then he ate the cat, and I'm like, oh.
And he knew what he was doing, which that's always a good sign.
Yeah, it was great. And, yeah, after I got the head, I didn't get the head, get the bread and leave. I got the head, I got the dick, and then I wanted more. I was like, oh, fuck, I'm not a city girl. So then... this one time we were having intense intercourse.
Yeah.
Wow, I felt so wrong. Anyways, he was like hitting me from the back or whatever like that.
Yep.
And like, I dead at, okay, he was going so hard. Like, he was going so hard. Like, I wish I could give y'all a visual. It's like, imagine somebody like pounding something because he's so mad. I don't know why he was mad. I don't even know if he was mad. I think he was just new how I like, whatever.
Yep.
So,
yeah.
But my stomach was hurting so bad because I was so drunk. I just came from the club and I should have known myself, basically. And he thought it was sexy. Like, no, I swear he thought it was sexy. He was like, you know what you just did? I was like, no, even though I did. I was
Yeah.
like, in my head, I'm like, I don't know how to do this. Let's just start crying now later.
Oh.
And he's like, yeah, I made you shit. I'm like, oh, fuck no. Like, Halloween,
Wow.
this is over. Like,
That is
yeah,
so
after
amazing.
that, we were pretty much done.
That was right. So was it? Were you even having anal, or you were just having?
No, we were having regular sex. It was
regular
just, like,
sex. It was just like so
he was-
much.
Yeah, because I was like on my
pounding.
stomach.
Yeah,
and like,
yeah,
I had my booty poked up with the little
Yep.
arch in the back.
Yep.
And he was like,
It was
so much
conditions were
bigger than me.
perfect.
I'm tiny. I'm 5'2". He's at least 6'3".
Yep.
And he's like a muscular nigga. He
Yep.
was just like, all his weight was pounding on me. My stomach was already hurting. I was drunk and I
Yep.
didn't really eat much.
Yep.
And it was just like, I really had to use the bathroom anyways.
Yep.
And it was just not good.
It was one of those moments. You know, all of us have had embarrassing moments, though.
That was like
yeah,
really
yeah,
embarrassing.
yeah.
It was like, but he didn't think it was embarrassing, which was like, ew. Like, it was like embarrassing / disgusting. Because it was like, ew, you think that's sexy? Like, how can you think that's sexy? I think that's the nastiest shit on earth. Like, he thought it was cute. So,
Yeah.
I don't know, but
No, and of course you never know. Everybody has different things, but some of us are like I'm that way with like periods. Like some guys freak out over periods, and I'm just like, hey, it's a part of life, right?
so you can have intercourse on a period.
No, I'm not saying that like I go out of my way for intercourse in a period. I'm just saying like in general, talking about periods
Oh, shit.
or you right, you know what I'm saying? Like it doesn't. None of that bothers me. And for some guys, just to think about a period, they're like, oh, that's so disgusting. Or if they see like the blood in the toilet or whatever, they're
Yeah,
just like
because
freak
they're
out.
childish.
Right, and I'm not. I'm just like, oh, that's a part of, and the same way as, you know, for a little bit of poop. I mean, like, really? Like, come on. Like, right? We all do it multiple times a day. Like, I don't care who you are. Like, you're not that special. You know what I mean? So, anyways, but I love that you got a good story out of it, and I love that you can giggle about it, and, hey, I'm glad that, I am glad, too, that he was a decent enough guy where he didn't, like, you know, make you feel bad, because it's such a vulnerable, right, because it's such a vulnerable moment.
I think I expected him to make me feel bad,
Yeah.
which is,
Kudos to him that he didn't.
yeah, like he didn't. So,
Yeah, props.
but I didn't want to fuck with him no more after that because I just was disgusted by him. I'm like, yeah, you're a fucking creep. Like, I don't know what's wrong with you. You are weird. If
Wait,
it
you thought he was
me-
weird because he wasn't grossed out?
Yeah.
What?
I
So
did.
here he was, a stand-up guy, didn't make you feel like, that's wrong.
But in my eyes, I'm like, you're hella weird. Like, anybody else will be like, ew, bitch, you gotta get out. Like,
Nope.
even though my feelings would have been hurt about that,
Yeah.
I would expect it, you know? Like,
No. Gosh, I don't know what to do with you now. See, we were vibing so good. I'm like, this girl's, and you literally tossed a guy out. Now I can just hear, can you hear all the guys listening to this? Are like, this is what's wrong with girls today, right? Man. All right. Well.
but guys, okay, he has other flaws.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
So if he was like the perfect guy,
Got
which
it,
is no
yeah.
such thing as that,
No,
but
there
like
isn't.
just somebody that I could deal with on a romantic level, or I
That's
really
true.
liked him, it would be different. But being that I really never had feelings for him anyway,
That makes sense.
anything is kind of like
Yep.
a turn off to me
Right.
from him.
Because you were,
Like,
yeah, okay, so you weren't really there for the romance. You were purely there for the sex, and then when
And-
something triggered it, that was kind of like your excuse to be like, you know what, this thing has
Right.
run its course, we're done.
Yeah,
Okay.
and he's like, you know, and then my thing is about guys is guys get really attached to me,
Yeah.
and
Because you're a sweetie.
I'm a cool person. I know that, and I
Yeah.
love people
Yeah.
or whatever. But I don't know how to always like say, you know, I really don't like you
Yeah. Yeah.
like that.
Yep.
Because I like to be around people and I like their vibe sometimes.
Sure.
And it's like, yeah, I know you like me, but
Yeah.
we'll never fuck with each other. And I can, if as long as I have control over that shit, we'll never fuck with each other. But I'll never say that. So it's kind of just like, I guess I play mind games.
I love your, like, backwards honesty. Like, I play mind games because I don't want to deal with the confrontation.
I'm being honest.
I like
a lot
that.
of people can't.
Yeah. No, you're right. There are a lot of people that don't like confrontation, and they don't want to say the hard thing, so they just kind of like fade off on you.
Yeah, I fade off, and it's not more so like I don't like confrontation only because I've always been confrontational, and it didn't really get me anywhere.
Yeah.
Good. So it's like, okay, no, I don't want to be confrontational anymore, so I'm trying to avoid being confrontational. A lot of people don't like what I have to say, and even though it doesn't come from a hard, mean, or a bad place,
Right.
with me saying it, like that's not how I'm trying to say it, but
Yeah.
people will take it that way because of how I said it, or
Sure.
I just expect everybody to have tough skin, and
Yeah.
that's not the case. So
No, it's
I'm
definitely
just
not.
trying to be more realistic because I deal with people on a regular basis.
That's fair.
So I would
Well.
just rather not say anything and just leave it alone, because if I do say something, it'll hurt your feelings way more than me not saying anything, honestly.
Yeah.
We can come back
Yeah.
from whatever. As long as I don't open my mouth and get crazy,
Sure.
we can still be cool. But as soon as I go crazy, nobody wants to fuck with me no more. They're like, oh, fuck no, this bitch is crazy.
That's hilarious. Well, Ming, it has been enlightening to say the least.
Oh,
And
yes.
thank you for sharing, because I know that, that took some bravery. And somebody out there is going to be like, oh my God, that happened to me. I can't believe there's another person on the planet.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, you're never, okay.
You're never
you
alone,
guys,
are
you're
you?
never alone.
Never.
It might be the craziest thing.
Yeah.
You're never the only
Never
one.
alone. Yeah, no, that's such a good point.
Yeah,
Anyways.
don't ever feel ashamed. Don't be too
No.
embarrassed about anything. Life goes on
That's
regardless.
right. That's right. Yeah, you're here, and you're got a giant smile on your face, and obviously having a good time in life. So,
Yes.
anyways, thank you for gracing our presence tonight.
No, thank you for having me.
Oh, my pleasure.
You have a great rest of your night, and you be safe, love.
Thank you. You too. Even though I understand that she was only there because of this dude's A1 dick game, I'm still a little bothered that what got him kicked to the curb was his not making her feel like garbage when she had a little accident during intercourse. I mean, how in the world are you gonna punish someone for treating you right? This is me shaking my head right now. One of the things I really love about this project is you can never predict what story will come next. I personally get really excited when we have several in a row that are very similar, or when an episode takes on almost like a theme. But this next story, it's a bit like Whiplash from the last one. Get ready to go in a totally different direction.
Story number 141. Wednesday, February 10th, 2021, 4:50 p.m.
Well, as in October 2020, I contracted COVID-19. It started off with me just not being able to breathe very well at night.
Right.
I kind of had to prop myself up in the bed to sleep.
Wow.
And then after a while, it got worse. And it got to a place where I couldn't walk. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't breathe.
Oh, man.
And it got really bad. And my son had to call the emergency room. He had to, or not the emergency room, but 911.
Jeez.
And they took me to the hospital.
Oh, wow. I'm so
and
sorry.
of course, they kept me.
Yeah.
So from October until the beginning of December, I was in the hospital dealing with not being able to breathe was the biggest thing.
Yep.
But it wasn't too severe. It was just enough, and not being able to walk.
Yeah, that's
At the
horrible.
beginning of December, they sent me to a rehab center.
Okay.
I was in the rehab center for 1 week.
Okay.
And the rehab center sent me back to the hospital.
Okay.
Because my blood count had dropped down to 4.
Oh my God. Okay. Sorry, I don't really know my way around medical stuff too much. What is a normal person or a healthy person supposed to be at?
A normal blood count is between 11 and 12.
Oh, wow. So you were maybe a third of what you should be.
Exactly. I was amazed that I was still breathing even at 4.
Right.
So they took me to the hospital. And once it took a while for them to get me a room. It was around 2 a.m. when they finally got me a room.
Okay.
And I'm in the room for the very first time, and immediately I stopped breathing altogether.
Oh, no.
So the next thing I know, there's a rush of doctors and nurses and all this equipment. Everybody's working on me. And the next thing I know, I'm in ICU.
Oh.
I'm in a bed. I'm surrounded by doctors and nurses. On one side, they're hollering, or not hollering, but
Right.
telling me, calm down.
Right.
And the other one's saying, just breathe easy, take your
Right.
time. And, and I'm freaking out because
Of
I'm
course.
thinking, I
You
can't breathe,
can't
and you're
breathe.
telling me to calm down.
Yeah, this is like someone's got a pillow over your head, and you're like, just calm down, just calm down.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So at one point, I felt like I was losing.
Yeah. Oh,
And I
wow.
felt like I was slipping away. And
Oh,
in
my.
my heart, there's the only place I could do it,
Yeah.
was in my heart. I started praying.
Oh, wow.
And I told God, I said, I'm not ready to die.
Yeah.
I'm not ready to go. I really need your help here.
Wow.
And all of a sudden, it's like everybody in the room disappeared. I was in the room, but I was no longer in the bed.
Wow.
I was standing there by myself, and I remember looking up. And when I looked up, there was Jesus right in front of me.
Oh, beautiful.
And he reached out, extended his hands to me, and I put my hands in his, and he pulled me close and put my head on his chest and held me.
Oh.
I felt love for the first time in my life like I've never felt before.
Yeah.
And he kept telling me over and over again, I've got you.
Oh.
It's okay. I've got you.
Wow.
I won't leave you. I won't forsake you. I've got you. And I felt love, the love that I've been searching for all my life. I felt it like never before. I knew I was going to be okay.
That's incredible.
And he told me, he said, slow and steady wins the race.
Oh, yeah.
And when he said that, he said, just breathe, slow and steady. Now, the nurses have been telling me this all along.
Right.
Didn't mean a thing.
Yeah.
But as soon as he said it, I was able to do it.
Wow.
And all of a sudden, I could breathe.
Wow.
And it seemed like hours that he held me. Probably wasn't.
Right.
But it seemed like many hours
Wow.
that he just held me close to his chest.
That's amazing.
And all I felt was love.
That's
the
incredible.
purest love I've ever felt in my entire life.
That's amazing.
And when he finally, after a little while, had passed, suddenly I was back in the room.
Yeah.
The nurses and doctors were still there, talking to me and putting machines on me and doing all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
And I looked beyond them, and there stood Jesus.
Oh.
Now, I was in the ICU for
Yeah.
7 days.
Oh, my gosh.
And Jesus was right there with me the entire time.
That's incredible.
Nobody saw him but me.
Right.
But he promised me he would never leave me, and he did not.
Wow. That's
And
so
he kept
beautiful.
telling me, I got you. I got you.
Yeah.
And he kept singing that song to me, the chorus of that song. I will never leave you, and I will never forsake you. He was there.
I believe you. I
He was
totally
there.
believe you. Yeah. That's incredible. Man. It's one of those things that when you're experiencing the darkest moment in your life and you feel like you're slipping away, it doesn't surprise me that that's when you felt Jesus the strongest. Like he shows up to those that are in the deepest, like it's like he's attracted to those that are in the most broken space.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
And that's when you feel the most. And I know in my own life, some of the moments when I felt the presence of God, the absolute strongest, was when I was in the worst spot, like emotionally or whatever. So, man, that's incredible. But I love that you actually got to you saw him.
Yes. And he stayed with me the whole 7 days I was in the ICU.
Wow.
He stayed right there.
Because, I'm always fascinated by near-death experiences. I read or I listened to a whole book on it, and absolutely fascinating. But the near-death experiences go away for most people, of course, when they wake up. I don't know that I've ever heard somebody who had a near-death experience with God, and then it actually continued after?
Yeah.
Where they could still, like, see? That's amazing.
Yeah, he never left me the whole time I was in ICU. Now, after I left ICU, I could still feel him.
Right.
I couldn't see him, but I could feel him.
Right, which that's
But,
normal, but gosh, to be, when you're in that spot, to see
But
him.
I saw him there.
Wow, that's so amazing.
Yeah.
Well, Miss Paula, thank you so much for sharing your story. I know there are going to be people that are touched, and I wouldn't be surprised if we hear other people that tell us a story about how God showed up for them in their deepest place of pain.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
So thank you so much for sharing.
You're more than welcome.
This lady was so sincere and had that look that people have when they are deeply connected to the divine. I mentioned in the interview that I'm so interested in near-death experiences and stories like this, where people of faith get to experience radical God encounters and be comforted when they are in the hardest moments of their life. So grateful she was able to share this with all of us. Our next rider's story also includes some medical drama, but this time without the visions of Jesus.
Story number 142. Thursday, February 11th, 2021, 9:17 p.m.
I'm getting married tomorrow, by the way.
Congratulations.
Listeners out there. Thank
yeah.
you. This is a story I often tell on first dates. I won't be having any more of those, so I'll tell it to you all.
Wonderful.
Hearts are breaking across the nation as they hear this news right now.
I know.
Mr. B is getting married.
Mr. B is off the market.
So I was probably 14 years old, and my little brother was 12, and we were at a family reunion up in the woods in Colorado, and we had built some little wooden boats. Sorry, I'm getting a call here.
Oh yeah, do it. I can just pause it, so no sweat.
We had built some little wooden boats to sail down a stream or creek.
Okay.
And, these were out of little 2x4s with some sticks, and we probably attached some paper sails to it, and we're watching them go down the stream, and
Right.
my brother and I were chasing them down the stream, and we were a good, 15, 20, 30 minutes away from our parents, or the large family reunion.
Mm-hmm.
And my brother's boat got stuck, and I waded into it's not a stream, it's not a creek, it's not a river, but it's bigger than a stream or creek, rather.
Okay.
And I kind of put my leg up on the other corridor of this creek, and it slipped down, and when I went to pick up his boat that was stuck, and I tried to move my leg, and it wouldn't move, and I kept pulling on it, and we're up in the mountains, and so it's snow runoff, it's cold water, and
Yeah.
I'm pulling on it, and I look down, and I see this thing poking out the side of my calf, like the skin is bulging. And I kind of let it slip, and this piece of metal shoots through my leg, and so my leg was impaled on this stake. It was a piece of rebar.
Oh my God.
That was fastened into the bottom of this creek, stream, whatever we're calling it. And so I tell my brother, who's probably 12, and a little about my brother is he's always been a crier, and he's always been the boy who cries wolf as well.
No.
So he runs back to the family reunion, and I'm standing there, you know, losing a lot of blood, I think, and in shock. I can't get off of this thing, and I'm thinking I'm going to lose my leg, and or I'm going to die, or who knows.
Of course.
You know, I can't remember what I was thinking, honestly. I just know it was terrific.
Right.
And I guess the way I know the story is that my brother went to try and get my parents' attention, and they didn't believe him.
Oh no.
And he manages to get my cousin, who is probably only 16 or 17, to come with him. But it's very like my brother not to get my parents to come.
Right.
I'm like
the
Mr.
one
C.
time in my life I needed you.
Yeah, come on. But so my cousin comes, and he was a bigger guy and athletic, and I don't know how long I was standing out there by myself. It couldn't have been more than half an hour, but
Oh my God, dude.
my cousin grabbed me by, assessed the situation and grabbed me by my knee and ankle, and was just like, hey, I'm gonna take you off this thing, and didn't even give me a warning, and just pulled my leg off this thing. It wasn't coming out of the ground.
Oh my God.
And he carried me back to the family reunion, where when he was carrying me and like kind of set me down on the ground, like, a crowd rushed around, and I wasn't really speaking. I think I was very much in shock, and they started cleaning off this, like, Mr. B got a cut on his leg, and they start cleaning it off, and I'm like pale in the face, and I turn my leg over, and they're like, oh my God, something went through his leg. We need to get him to the hospital. And, it was a good hour drive to the nearest hospital, and the emergency room's a trip as well, where you kind of just sit there no matter what your issue is.
Yeah.
But lo and behold, I had a piece of rebar shoot through my leg between my tibia and fibia, which are the two bones that make up your shin. It was like right in the fat of my calf, and it struck that major artery, but it didn't sever it. Wow. They said it was millimeters off, but it probably hit it, and the artery was big enough to move out of the way.
Oh my God.
But if you sever that artery, you're dead.
Yeah, bye-bye.
In a matter of minutes.
Right.
And so they washed it out. I still have a cup of the rust that they washed out of it. And to heal, they actually kept a tube, like a silicone rubber, through my leg that came out on both sides for like a month to make sure no sepsis or anything crazy grew in there, because it was a full wound through my leg. God. And fortunately, I survived.
Yeah.
My brother and I are still close.
Okay.
I don't let him live that one down, but now that we're adults, I think he definitely learned how to alert people in a time of real need, and I have some great scars because of it. So.
Right. Yeah, that's true. How many people can say they've been impaled in a river? I mean, that's a pretty slim crew. You're in some rarefied air, sir. Yeah.
How many people can say they've been impaled and lived?
That's true. Yeah. Well, I think that's part of the whole how many people can say they've been impaled is you have to live to talk about it. But that's amazing. So, and is this brother going to be at the wedding?
He sure will be. He's required to give a toast.
I would agree.
I'm very curious what Mr. C will have to say.
Yeah.
And it should be a good time.
Absolutely.
That's my back cab confession.
Back cab confession. Love it. Thank you so much for sharing, Mr. B. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you.
So, here's to not crying wolf too many times, to scars that don't alter your life too badly, but make for great stories, and for being taken off the market so that you no longer have to share said stories on first dates anymore. Best of luck to you, sir. This next young lady starts us off on a message that could be labeled to be about personal empowerment. But because it gets my wheels turning, we end up also talking about what it is to be black in America.
Story number 143. Thursday, February 11th, 2021, 9:43 p.m.
I just started doing like modeling, I guess, more on a full-time schedule. Like I was doing it here and there, and then I just really decided to pick it up. And since then, like, it's been really dope because I have a really unique look. And like, you know, I was real shy when I started, but like I noticed like all these doors opening just based on just my look and just like being who I was. Like, quick story, I was in this video shoot. There were three other models. And they were all like light skinned and had curly hair. And I'm dark skinned and I have short curly hair, and they had like the same length hair or whatever. And like, I remember feeling like they were really trying to like make me feel, you know, like the oddball out, and I could feel that. And I felt like that before, just being amongst people when I'm the outsider or whatever. So, you know, whatever. But, you know, it's not a cool feeling. So I was really feeling shitty about it, low key. And I was like, damn, like, these bitches really not fucking with me. But, you know, I just kept like just doing my thing. I was like, I'm not there to be friends with bitches. I'm just there to, you know, just do my part and call it a day. But they were still like really trying to like exclude me and shit, and I could feel that. And so like I got to the point where I was like, you know what, I'm about to go home. Like, fuck it. I've gotten enough camera time, I guess. Like, I'm just go home. Like, I'm over this, right? And like right when I was about to leave, the director of the video was like, wait, Crown, can you come back? We need you in this car. And there was a 2-seater BMW, like really nice with butterfly doors, like the whole nine. And they were like, we need you in the car. And I was like, me? Like, just me? Oh my gosh. So I went inside in the car, and they were like, yeah, we needed you, and then the rapper is going to be right next to you, and somebody open the door for her. Like, they just treated me like royalty at that point. And not that I deserved any of that, but just like the fact that, you know, I felt like, damn, like I really feel shitty about myself because these girls were, you know, doing whatever. And then like how the director called me out and was like, no, we want you. I was like, oh my gosh.
I love that. I love it so much. Yeah, and there's definitely going to be somebody out there that hears you that isn't feeling traditionally beautiful in some way, right? And maybe feels looked down on. And what a beautiful win. That's incredible. And I can tell, and I mean this, like, you've got a really amazing heart. And my guess is, too, that you're also a really creative person. You give that off big time. So definitely. I love that the people who maybe think that they're the, you know, more classically whatever, didn't get picked for that special part. And I hope that you learn that as a life lesson.
Definitely.
Right?
And you know what, honestly, like, just being, and this is me being vulnerable now, like, just being a black woman in this world, like, I'm gonna get a lot of, and dark skin as well, like, I'm gonna have a lot of moments where, you know, I feel inferior, just because of my skin color. And I have had so many moments where I have felt that way, and I've had to find ways to just kind of, you know, reassure myself that, you know, just reassure myself, just constantly reassure myself of myself, because, you know, I know what my value is and all that stuff, but it can be intimidating, you know, when you're the eyeball out, so quote unquote. So so it was a real
that's super
lesson.
cool. And I do feel like, and of course I'm on the outside of this, so these are my observations, and feel very free to shoot them down. Two things I observe is I've noticed the black community has policed itself in terms of, or not policed itself, but has judged darker skinned as like not as good as lighter skinned. That's what my black friends have told me. Like, they're like, hey, if the darker we are, we judge each other. But so I know that there's that whole thing kind of going on, but at the same time, I've been noticing in different media outlets and whatever, certain models have been rising to the top that are the really dark, like dark, like African dark, and I love it because it is. It's such an amazing look. Anyway, so I think I think things are changing slowly, and I'm excited, and I think that all of us, white, black, or otherwise, are becoming more appreciative of that dark look. So
I mean,
really?
Just being black in general, and this is like just being black in general, is rough being in this world. Whether you're light skinned, dark skinned, doesn't matter. Like, you're black.
True.
So you're already behind in the race according to the rest of society. So you have to find ways, as a black woman, as a black man, you have to find ways to empower yourself and empower each other, because the white community is not going to do it until they see us doing it with each other. So that's actually a good point too. I think you're right, and I'm not that it has anything to do with anything, but I am super excited right now. I feel like there are more and more authentic, healthy, good voices in the black community, lifting the black community up. And I again, from the outside, I feel like I can see things starting to go in a more positive direction. Does that ring with you at all, or how do you feel about that? Because I feel like there's some good black leaders starting to step up now. I mean, I think we've always had great black leaders, and I think that definitely, I think there's always a wave of black leaders who are fitting for the time we're in, and who know how to handle the situations that we're in as black people, and who know how to lead. So I don't ever think we have weak black leaders, because again, as black people, we're already behind in the race. So everything that we're doing, we're trying to do it to get out of from behind, you know what I mean? So at the end of the day, like, every black leader who has attempted to be a black leader has been an amazing black leader, because they're leading blind, honestly, and it's like, that's
actually a cool
and in their own way, they're amazing leaders. And there's so many leaders who are underground who people don't even know yet, like me. You know what I mean? Who are just doing things in our own personal communities, which will ultimately be seen by the world. But right now, it's not about that. It's about, just pushing us forward in the little ways that we can. So, I'm done.
Crown, thank you so much. You're amazing.
Thank you. Nice meeting you.
First of all, her wrestling with feeling like an outsider, and especially in the world of modeling, feeling like she was being looked down on for her appearance, is one that I feel resonates with a lot of us. It's funny, but most of the time when you talk to people who you would think are at the top of the modeling or beauty world, they still feel like outsiders and like they are not accepted as much as others. So it shows that this is a very human feeling and condition. I'm proud of Crown, though, that she didn't let the mean girls get her down, and that she stuck around to then be elevated by others who saw her unique beauty and wanted that for the shoot they were in. As far as the rest of the conversation about being black in America, I feel like I could go down 1,000 different roads, and this just isn't the right platform for it, and I'm not black, so I'll let her words stand for now, as they are, without trying to add too many of my own. It kind of surprises me that it has taken 144 stories to finally get one that touches on aliens. We get a lot of supernatural stories, but this is the first of the alien kind.
Story number 144. Friday, February 12, 2021, 12:49 a.m.
Alright, so one time I was driving on 285 going through Spaghetti Junction.
Yep.
And I was a lot younger. I was, I think, 21 years old.
Okay.
And out of nowhere I see this huge triangle in the sky. mean, the size of a Walmart.
Wait, what?
Yeah. And I think it was a UFO. I mean, I'm pretty sure.
Holy cow.
But I was so surprised. In these times, I didn't have an iPhone. I had a flip phone.
Yeah.
So I thought to myself, this is going to be all over the news.
Yeah.
Let me just get home and turn on the TV and see what's going on.
Right.
So it was humongous. It had very bright lights. It had like 9 huge lights on it.
Dude, wait. Was this at night or in the daytime?
This was during the daytime. I was on my way back home from work, going towards Sandy Springs.
Yeah, and then how high up if you had to estimate?
I'd say about the same as an airplane, but it was just huge. Looked like one of those buildings you see like straight ahead right now.
Wow.
Yeah, and it just like humongous in the sky, triangular shape perfectly. And I was so amazed. I was gonna stop and take a picture, but I was just like, let me just get home because everyone saw this.
Yeah.
And when I got home, I told everyone. I turned on TV. Nothing was on. No, it was no big deal. The next day, I told my boss. He didn't believe me, so he Googled it, and he saw there were multiple sightings that same day of the same thing I saw.
Oh my God.
And that's how I was so amazed why.
Yeah.
Yes, like it doesn't make any sense.
What did anybody from like an official point of view give any kind of like answer as to what the hell it was? Or?
No, there were supposedly multiple calls to 911 reporting it. And I just remember that he showed me that, and he didn't believe me until the moment he saw that.
Wow, that is nuts. And like, so before or after, have you seen anything that would be like a UFO type thing, or was that
never again?
So that was just like this one moment.
This one time that I was just like, wow.
Wow, that is actually really freaking cool.
It was the size of a cloud, like a huge cloud in the sky. It was so big. It was just like there's no way people miss that.
That is nuts, bro. Like, and I know, I mean, you're not an expert necessarily or whatever, but like, would you guess it was like a military thing, or like,
I really think it was just something that's beyond our capability. Yeah,
that's what I was gonna say. Like, is this something that like a DARPA could have come up with, or is this way beyond?
Yeah, I believe it's from another planet. It was just something way too incredible.
Wow.
That is either someone that's controlling us or something.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty baller that you got a chance to see that, though, man.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Yeah.
It's a little bit mind-blowing because never seen anything like that again.
Right. Yeah. Wow. Mr. Z, thank you so much for your story, man. That's incredible.
Most definitely. Anytime. Thank you.
This is another one of those subjects that we all have our own opinions on. Where do you land on the subject of aliens? I think there's a sliding scale, and it would start from there is absolutely no such thing as conscious life outside our planet, and on the other side of yes, there absolutely is intelligent life on other planets. No matter where you land, though, when scores or even hundreds of people see the exact same phenomena, there has to be something going on. I don't, for one, subscribe to the mass delusion idea where tons of people that have never met, all describing the same thing, are somehow having a shared delusion. There is definitely some other answer, and that will be another one of those life mysteries that I'm sure we'll be talking about and debating for many years to come. So, our last rider today definitely brings us back to very real and earthly challenges. She talks about one of the biggest decisions a young mother will ever have to make.
Story number 145. Friday, February 12, 2021, 11:51 p.m.
What's up, guys? So this story is going to be for the young ladies who might find themselves in a bind and don't really know what to do.
Oh, nice.
So my story.
Yes.
I was about 20 years old in college. Grades were flourishing, by the way. I mean, I ain't no dummy, okay?
Right.
Had the amazing B's, okay?
I love it.
But I did get a little distracted in college. One of my good friends, who shall remain nameless.
Right, or we can change his or her name.
He and I got very close. And I remember it was one summer. We ended up getting pretty intimate with one another. And I actually got pregnant.
Oh, yeah.
So through that, it was quite hard.
Yeah, I can imagine.
He actually didn't want any claims to me or the child. And it just became very, very tough to handle that situation.
Yeah.
It was hard because, for a guy, they can kind of just go on with their lives and kind of like pretend like nothing happened. But with a young lady, they're kind of like stuck.
Yeah, that's right.
They have a decision to make. Like, do I continue
Yeah.
on with this thing that's going inside of me, that's becoming a person? Do I, end it? What do I do?
Right.
For me, ultimately, like, the choice was life. And I decided to go on with it.
Yeah.
And it took a lot of, counseling. I actually was in church at the time, talked to like my pastor at the church because he and I were very close. You know, like he was a very good man, still a good man to this day.
Yeah.
And I felt very comfortable confiding in him even before my parents, which is crazy.
Yeah, that's huge. Yeah. That's thankfully you had people you trusted too, right? Because I mean, that's got to be like one of the most one of the most gut-wrenching decisions in life that you could ever come up against. It's brutal.
I mean, like, for the young lady, I mean, like, they're literally every day, they're growing, they're stretching, their bodies are changing, they have no idea what's going on, they're scared.
Right.
And it's like, it's nice that I was able to talk to those people at that time, my pastor.
Yeah.
So he actually helped me bring the news to my parents a couple days later.
Oh, yeah.
And, of course, like, emotions were everywhere. My father, he's kind of like a hothead, so he reacted out of anger. He said some things that weren't the very best thing to say at that time. Yeah. My mother, she was just distraught. She's like, why couldn't you come to me first, I thought that we had a better relationship than this. I was just like, Mommy, it was so hard to see your face even now. And I just felt like I needed the extra support. Yeah. Because I love you too much to disappoint you.
Wow.
So months passed by. My parents are both on board, by the way. I mean, like, of course, after all the fireworks and emotions, they just want the best for me.
Of course, yeah.
Mom, she had even offered to leave her job, actually, at one point. She was going to leave her job and become, like, a full-time nanny for my child.
Wow.
Now, bear in mind, I actually have two siblings. I have a brother that's younger than me. Actually, I have two brothers that's younger than me. I'm the eldest.
Okay.
But the baby is 9 years younger than I am.
Oh,
so,
wow. Yeah. Big gap.
Right. So, I just was thinking of him and how my parents are going to have to, look out for him and, like, put him through college and, the whole 9 yards. So I'm just like, Mommy, don't do that.
Yeah.
I'm sure that there's another way. There has to be another way.
Yeah.
Also, bear in mind, my daughter's father did not want to be in her life.
Right. So that it's either you on your own or you and your parents on your own.
Right. And I didn't want to put anybody out of their way, even if they were willing 100% to go out of their way for me. Yeah. I just couldn't bear the guilt and live with that. So eventually, my decision was to put her up for adoption.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And that process in itself was very nerve-wracking, but my parents seemed to be on board, and they actually helped me with that process.
Wow. That's so amazing.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard because they ask me every day, like, are you sure? Are you sure? Are you sure?
Right. Yeah, of course.
Like, we got you. We're here.
Yeah.
But I was just like, Mommy, please, I feel like I've prayed and meditated on this decision long enough, and I'm finally at peace with it.
Yeah.
This is what needs to happen. I just have a good feeling. I finally came across a good family that I felt comfortable with.
Okay.
Now, mind you, I'm black.
Yes. Oh, really?
Yeah.
That was a joke. Sorry, that was so stupid.
No, but it's funny. It's funny.
It's funny. But for the listener, that's important. I was just being stupid. Sorry.
No, you're good. So my parents are both from Jamaica.
Okay.
And that's just my background.
Yeah.
The family that I chose for her to live with are both white, like white as snow, and
White
they're
as-
just so
like white
they're
as I
just
am.
so cute. Yeah, pretty much. So like they were the cutest couple though, and I read their file. They actually had adopted a little boy before wanting to adopt again.
Yeah.
And he was already about 2 years old.
Okay.
He's the sweetest little thing. Oh my God. I haven't actually met him, but I mean, like, I see the videos and pictures. Oh,
Right.
So yeah, that's another thing. The adoption, went through. Everything was fine. They met me at the hospital when I was giving birth. My mom was there. The adoptive parents were there, and they were just as sweet as I thought they were going to be.
Oh my goodness.
And I honestly had a genuine instant connection.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, like, there were so many emotions in that room. I mean, like, tears of joy were just flowing from every corner, from me to the nurses to my mother and the adoptive parents. Everybody was just...
That is actually beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, I was actually cracking jokes while delivering this girl.
Wow.
It's like, I don't know what kind of mood I was in, but I felt like such a peace was over me.
Yes.
And I feel like that peace could only come from knowing that you're doing the right thing.
That's right. 100%. Yeah.
And I knew I was doing the right thing because everything I could not give to her, she was going to receive from her adoptive parents.
Yeah.
Because even though I love her with all my heart, I had to love her enough to let her go.
Yep.
So that she could have opportunities that I couldn't provide for her at that time.
Yeah.
So...
Wow. God, that is so freaking beautiful. I don't have the whatever it is, the desire and all the other stuff it takes to do adoption, but I've always thought people that do adopt, I think they're just such heroes, and I hate that the American system for adoption is so freaking challenging and expensive.
It's crazy.
Right, it's so stupid. But of course, in your case, it's just like when someone does make that decision, it is so challenging to think of like carrying the baby all the way full term and then handing over. But I love that you were so dedicated to the child, and then also just honest with yourself, where you're like, you know what, this is the best thing. You said for her, right? Oh man. So are you still able to stay in her life, or was part of your deal just to hand her over and stay at a distance until she's older?
So what I have is a semi-open adoption.
Oh, okay.
So that basically means that I still get updates. I get pictures, videos. I'm actually in contact with the mother, so like I can receive like messages from her. I get these cute little updates. Just saying like, oh my God, you'll never believe what she did today. Like, it's the best, and it really does make me feel even that much more secure in my decision.
Yes.
Because not everybody gets that. I don't know if there's some young ladies that may not even want that.
Right, for sure, yeah.
Because you never know. Yeah, you never know where people's heads are at. But for me, I think that's the most comforting thing. Yeah.
I love that so much. That is beautiful. Yeah, adoption is that whole thing is amazing. And I don't know. So with the couple, were they just not able to have their own kids, or what? Do you know what their situation was about what drew them to adoption?
I thought that it was the reason that they can't have kids.
Okay. I'm
not even 100% sure now, because it's funny. I was going through some old emails and I came across like their file again, and I was reading it again. And I was just like, oh my God, I love these people. But it didn't say anywhere in there that they could not have kids.
Right.
I think it was just like their hearts led them to adopt, and that's where they've been at.
Gosh, that is such an incredible story. Well, Jessica, I'm so proud of you. You're an incredible woman. Every bite of that story literally warms me. So thank you so much for sharing too.
Oh, it's no problem.
Yeah. And I do hope and pray that some young lady, if they're kind of in a situation similar, that your story gives them strength or encouragement or, whatever that is. So that's amazing.
Thank you. That's all I hope that this story brings, is some type of hope and encouragement, some type of guidance, if anything.
Yep. No, brilliant. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Everything about her story is so real. And she was so vulnerable and transparent about the whole process. She is also so fortunate to have great, supportive parents and to have been able to find the right couple to take care of her little angel. truly, truly beautiful story right here. If I had to come up with a theme for this week's adventures, I'd have to go with the realness of life, or something along those lines. Because these stories are all over the place today, but represent the wide range of what this human experience can hold. We have pooping during sex, an extraordinary encounter with Jesus, a pretty vicious wound, being proud of and comfortable with your looks, seeing an alien craft, and giving up your child for adoption so they can have the life you just can't give them. I think the lesson that I'm learning from these folks today is that no matter what life throws at you, to approach it with as much humility and humor as possible. Us being human is this crazy balance of realizing all of our many weaknesses and limitations, while at the same time recognizing just how remarkable we are created to be in the grand scheme of things. Blessings on you till we meet again, my friend. This is what happens when you are a rideshare driver in Atlanta and ask people for their stories. These weren't handpicked people with great stories. They just happened to get in my car and be gracious enough to share with all of us. And who knows, maybe someday you'll be in Atlanta and need to grab a rideshare and end up telling the rest of us the next great story on BCP. I'd actually encourage you to, every so often, just ask a stranger to share a story from their life. You never know what you might learn. I believe that our stories are powerful. They can make you laugh, cringe, cry, or even get you to think or feel differently. Our stories can truly make this world a little bit better place. So please, subscribe, rate, and listen to this podcast and share it with as many adults as possible. It would mean so much to me. First and foremost, I want to thank the incredible writers who trusted me with your stories. You're my heroes. Thanks also to all the people in the background who have believed in this project/dream. All of the music on this podcast was found on pixabay.com, and it was free, which is an amazing gift when you're starting a podcast on a shoestring budget.